I'm Al McFarlane. This is the Conversation with Al McFarlane. Friday, we typically do what we call the Healing Circle, but today is a special occasion because we're talking about one of the heroes of our community, one of the legendary genius figures in creativity, in music, in culture, in funk. Some call him a funk master. I'm talking about Jellybean Johnson, who joined the ancestors last week. We want to talk about him, his work, his contribution, his friends and family members, talking about his vision, his mission, what he accomplished, what he wanted to build, what he did build in creativity and art for our community and for the world. I want to start by bringing his daughter on, Bianca Little Bean. Uh, Rhodes is here. Bianca, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Um, and
Before,
regardless of these circumstances, my
well,
father always had a smile on his face.
you
Um,
sent me a note that we published in Insight News
yeah.
that told it was just the best note I've ever had because
You
even with
gotta
the loss
laugh
of
to
your
keep from
father,
crying.
you said tell everybody keep
Yes.
dancing.
He said if it ain't making it shake their booties, it ain't gonna work.
Tell us about your dad and how he died. Just give us the story.
um, well, that's the thing. We're still we're not able to release the information about how
Sure.
he died.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm very grateful. One thing I'm very, very, very grateful for is I was with him on his birthday
Mhm.
and I got to have dinner with him one last time. The only thing that I was very sad about is I didn't get to sing to him. I always sing to him for his birthday. Um, he Here's the thing, best of health. He would walk 2 hours a day.
Mhm.
He really didn't fool with too much salt, all that kind of stuff. He always had tons of water with him. And so he really was taking good care of himself. And so um it pretty much is kind of a sudden situation, sadly.
Mhm. Well, we're so
And
sorry.
for me, it's musicians out there, if the OGs could talk to the young people, um you got to take care of yourself. The men in these beautiful spaces, you got to at least know what may be going on with you. You can't just oh, it's going to get better, or ignore it or whatever. It's You can't do that. And all the bandmates are in that age range where it really is very important. Like Terry Lewis literally just turned 69 also,
Mm.
I believe yesterday. So the struggle is real, what he would say. But he definitely would want people dancing. He wouldn't want people sad. He would want us to still have a good time, and just so excited to be on this conversation because we have some beautiful people that's gonna talk with us and stuff. So thank you, Al.
Well, let me start. I've got a number of great guests in the studio here, and we'll all be in this conversation. But I'm going to throw first to David Island because we used a picture in the paper this week of the Flyte Time band, where I'm sitting right now on Thomas Avenue in North Minneapolis. My next door neighbor was Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Williams, right, who was in the original Flyte Time band. And they used to always practice across the alley at David's mom and dad's house, the Islands, over on uh, Upton. Uh, David, let me bring you in and thank you for joining this, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Hear you perfectly, man, and you look great as well. What are your thoughts? And give me some reflections, first of all, about what you guys are doing as teenagers, preteens almost, discovering the world, and you've had such a magnificent impact on the entire music scene.
First thing I want to say is I was the only one that voted against the name Flight Time. I hated the name. I thought it was a dumb name. I thought the band should be called Your Mama, and I voted unanimously. I voted on that one, and So no, it started. The band started in my parents' basement. And I think we were there for about 7 years. And the other thing, the way he got, there's this other story about how he got his name.
Mm-hmm.
About something about the band was playing at the Flame, and they called us. They said that we sound like a bunch of jelly beans. That's an absolute lie. That is not how he got his name. I was in the basement when he brought that poster down there of the rabbit. You've seen the picture. Was the rabbit sitting on a couple of rabbits sitting on a pile of jelly beans, and Robert Martin started calling him Jelly Bean. We all started calling him that. That's how he got his name. So let's get that straight right now. I think somebody recently published it, maybe even Rolling Stone magazine or something published that. So that's fake news.
Is that the story that you knew, Bianca, about how the name
I knew
originated?
the bag of jelly beans one. I did not know the one that David just mentioned.
If you look at the picture, you can see the picture in my parents' basement of a rabbit sitting on a pile of jelly beans that he brought down there without asking us, by the way, if he could bring a picture. But he was family. My dad, those are the sons that he never had. Terry and James. It's James Anderson, by the way, the guy that's on
James
Thomas.
Anderson, my next door neighbor, yeah.
And I told all of them to get on. Cynthia, I sent a link for all of them to show up. Hopefully they'll show up. Tony Johnson was in the picture. David Wright is in that picture, the trumpet player that replaced Robert Martin. That's how he got his name. There is no disputing that in my mind. So let's get that straight right now. There's no other story about how that's that. What about we were in the Flame ballroom and somebody said we sound like a bunch of jelly beans? That's the dumbest. Whoever said that? You sound like jelly beans? That's a dumb story to begin with. I think Marty told me that story. I'm like, what? Get out of here.
Well, listen, you guys are all associated with The Way, and Spike Moss is here. And Spike, you and I were talking before. You helped me get in touch with a couple of other of the legendary artists in our community, Joe Lewis, who's joining us, and also Pierre Lewis. Spike, welcome to the conversation. Good to see you, and thanks again for all that you have done and continue to do, the work you did in pouring into these young people. Talk about how this whole machine developed in North Minneapolis.
Well, there was a brother here. His name was Bobby Lyle. He was our best jazz entertainer. He went to Japan and he participated in the Yamaha organ contest. And when you win, you get a record deal and a brand new organ. So he's playing down in the Peacock Alley. And I went down there and I said, congratulations, Bobby. But there'll never be no little Bobbies unless you help me build this school. So he said, why me? I said, jazz musicians read and write at levels no other musicians do. They played more than 6 or 7 instruments and they write well. I want the children of the Twin Cities to have all of that. So he went and got Gene Hubbard, who was our best jazz guitar player, and his brother, Gene was our best drummer. Jerry was our best guitar player. They were brothers. And the three of them went and got Abner and them, who learned how to play the horns in Stillwater Prison. And that's how we got started. And out of the first group of kids, we created a group called the Young Players. And when it was the Young Players' turn to step up, they stepped up behind the elders and began to teach the young people coming on. And one of the fastest coming at that time would have been Sonny Thomas. However, Prince was available at 12. He was running in and out too. Andre was 12. Jimmy and Terry was about 13. All of them were running in and out and learning that music in the back room for free. And even when they got big enough to get their own groups, they kept coming back to get that science of that music and keep growing and keep moving forward. We probably taught hundreds of them, if you think about it, and maybe 100 or more bands over that period of having that room open 6 days a week. We started doing dances in the back room on Fridays and Saturdays. We started doing festivals out in front of the way, but we got so big we had to go to Phyllis Wheatley. We're drawing thousands now. And I'm taking the very kids that came through that structure and putting them on the stage. And it was amazing because we always brought in stars, and the stars always criticized me, talking about I'm bringing these babies in here and we're professional. We shouldn't be on the stage with these babies. I say, you need to shut up, hear these kids of the Twin Cities before you have a comment. And the minute those kids would get up on the stage, they would shut every group I ever brought here up, shut them up. because them kids were so ready. They would go home and practice, like Island said, in people's houses practicing. They was constantly doing music. Matter of fact, Jellybean would show up so much to learn from Joe. It was amazing. I used to tease Jellybean. He comes so much. I said, Jellybean, you keep coming, but you ain't learned how to play the drums yet. What else can Joe do for you? He was back there. They were beating them drums to death. And there were so many kids watching, learning from him, especially Sonny Thompson and Pierre Lewis, because he did everything that Bobby Lyle did on that keyboard. And the kids just kept coming, South Side, North Side, St. Paul, all those years. That's a long time to develop some kids. The only thing I wish we would have had was Minnesota had the interest in the black bands that they had in the white bands, because they helped the Monkees, the Beach Boys. They helped Joe, what's that boy name up north that sang?
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, but they would not help the black groups. And we had more record companies than any other city, but we had the one thing most cities didn't have. We had the largest record distributor called Pickwick right there on Highway 12, which is 394 today, right there next to the Cadillac lot. We had everything we needed to become the second Motown, but they just wouldn't allow it. And I'm telling you, the children, all of them were that great.
Joe Lewis, talk about your experience with Jellybean and as a teacher, as a mentor, and as part of this machine that developed so much genius in Minnesota.
Well, when I think about it and the Minnesota Sound, we definitely developed it because our winters were so hard. We'd be in our basements and practicing all through the summer or all through the winter to the summer, and then do a lot more outside ventures and a lot more gigging. But I've been from coast to coast now, and I get out to California and the sun is shining too bright. We can't come in and practice. We can't come together as units like we used to do. Go in there and stay in there for 4 or 5 hours, until the buses don't run no more. So you got to wait for another bus. But I knew Jellybean right off the bat, say like in the early years when he first came here. And I did have a drum set at home, but not a lot of people had drum sets at their house. But I can remember leaving Lincoln at 3:30 so I could catch KUXL playing some James Brown, and I might be able to tap with it for the little bit of time that it's on. That's kind of how we would be developing ourselves, until you could come together with someone, and Minneapolis had a lot of that and probably still does. And that's that background you need to be able to get on your instrument, see people, know other people that's doing the same thing as you. And even for instance, Jellybean came to Vegas, probably about a year and a half ago. And he called me up, "You want to come to the concert?" Man, yeah. Even though I've been watching him my whole lifetime, so, but we still would get together and talk about when we were kids and that whole development and environment that we had to just pursue our instruments. And it's rare. It ain't like that everywhere. So, and then having other bands to look up to, and like Bobby Lyle, to see him with Sly Stone or something, that'd be like a treat, But that's growing up. That's the best avenue we were taking was good. You knew it was good.
Pierre, jump in if you would. What are your stories and memories of being a part of the development of the scene, of the sound, and of these artists?
Well, I played with Joe in the family, and we was called Back to Black. And at that time, Jellybean and Batman, they had Flyte Time, and then Prince had Grand Central, and we'd have the battle of the bands. Boy, that was some fun, man.
We won
Especially
the battle, by the way.
Oh.
Hey, I'll see you soon because I still play with Batman every now and then. Remember, I'll see you soon. But eventually, after the family broke up, then I was playing with Flyte Time for a while. So we was doing me, Jellybean, Batman. I don't think my cousin Robert was there with him at the time, but playing trumpet. I think he might have been gone by then. But yeah, you remember Batman when we take the basketball out before we would play.
I just remember that you couldn't play basketball. That's all I remember.
Oh boy. Well,
Yeah,
Jellybean.
I'll see you soon.
You see that we used to talk smack all the way to the gig, and then we're supposed to take the equipment out, set it up, but we couldn't do that. We had to take the basketball out, play some 21 or something, And then Jellybean like, man, I'm gonna block your shot, man. So he never blocked us. So almost every now and then, when I see Jellybean, I say, man, you never blocked my shot, man. He come grab me by the head and squeezing me. Yeah, man.
Bianca,
it's
I
hilarious.
apologize, but your dad was a terrible basketball player. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm sorry. Pierre was terrible. Joe was pretty good.
Man,
your dad would trip over his own feet running down the court. So
David, you had game.
He had a little bit.
That boy didn't have no game.
He had a little bit, but I wish my knees were good, that boy. Anyway, so Jellybean used to come down. I'd always bump into him at jam session, jamming. When I least suspected, like at Minnesota Music Cafe. Then when I played at Shaw's and the Blue Saloon. For about 5 or 6, 7 years, every Monday and Tuesday, he would come down there. He would come to one of those clubs every week. It'd be the Blue Saloon one week, it'd be Shaw's the next week, and we'd be jamming and jamming. That was, he's Mr. Intensity, and that was so much. We had so much fun doing that. Then he didn't show up for a while. I was like, man. Then I seen him at somewhere else. Said, man, what's up, man? I ain't seen you, man. I'm about to quit, man. If you don't come down there soon, I'm gonna quit, man. I said, you're the reason. I'll be waiting for you to come down there, man, so we can jam, man. If you don't, man, I'll quit that gig, man. Then he said, oh man, I'll be back, man. I seen him next week. And I think I kept that gig another year and a half. Yeah, but yeah. He's a funny guy too. Jellybean was always smiling. He was always in a good mood, and if he was mad or if he got mad, I was like, oh, man, he's just joking, man. He's just messing around. He's trying to trick me. Yeah. But we used to have a lot of jokes going back, just like me and Batman. Now, but when and I always told him, I said, man, you're the only drummer, man, that I got a chance to perform doing the Genie by Bobby Lyle with, man. I don't never get to do that no more, man. He said, oh, yeah, I remember, man. That was a long time ago, though, back in the 70s. But, yeah, he was something else. That's all I can say.
So let me ask all of you guys, Batman, you first. What was in your mind? So let's go back to you being 15. You 15, 18, 12, that range. What was the vision? What inspired you? And about you and what you thought was driving Jellybean as well. That's question number one. And after you guys deal with that, I'm going to ask you, looking back, what was the outcome of the initial impulse that you had to establish yourselves in the world? Batman, what do you think?
I don't know how much vision that we had as a band. We were a cover band. They talk about the Minneapolis Sound, and I don't agree with that label, because I feel like a lot of us were playing the songs that we were hearing on the radio. We had a couple original songs, a couple that I wrote, and that were terrible, by the way. I'm gonna say that right now. I had some terrible songs.
Look at you.
But we played, we played a couple stuff. We didn't have a whole lot of vision. We were just like, I know that we wanted to be in, my dad was booking us doing all this corporate stuff. He was, we were doing like stuff with NAACP, Urban League, Black fraternities and sororities. But we wanted to play in the clubs for people our own age. I'm playing for these old people. And these people are like, yo, you boys don't know how to spell. I'm like, I know how to spell better than you guys. They were giving me grief up. I had to defend a name that I hated. I hated the name Flyte Time. And I'm having to defend that name to my dad's friends and stuff. Oh, you boys don't know how to spell. And so
Oh,
we were making money more than Joe and them boys were, because they were just playing at the way the whole time.
ooh, I don't
There
know.
you go, Joe, man. He never stops,
Y'all
man.
don't
He
know where I
never
live. You don't
stops.
know where I live. You don't know where I live. You can't find me. Joe's not even in town. Where you at, Joe?
In Vegas.
Yeah, see?
I'm trying to get home. I want to be home now. I've been gone for 40 years. Yeah. But I'll speak on that Minneapolis Sound. I
Yeah.
tell you, going out west, and I already told you maybe these guys don't even want to sit down for it, but an hour, half hour, because the sun is shining. Boys at home, like I said, we'll sit in the basement for 6 hours. Don't nobody go out and get no food. We might be there for another 12 hours. But because that's all you're going to need is some substance. And then we always wanted to practice and get to the next level of it. But coming up in Minneapolis, one of the big things that struck me was probably like 1966 or 7 when James Brown came to Parade Stadium. And he got Bootsy and all them out the bus, and we was checking boots, and he was checking suits and stuff, and he had his hairdo ready to go, but it was wrapped in a towel. And they got on that stage, and the show just went on for like I was 12, but it seems like it went on for hours, because he had horns, he had female background singers, and then when he came out, they had to drag him out. Pretty impressive. 99-cent ticket to get in. 3 drummers. That blew me off my feet to where, I want to go home and practice and be tight like those guys are. They're sharing riffs and stuff like that, but that just knocked me off my feet right there.
And so what did you want to be when you saw that, when you were inspired by that impressive display of showmanship, of performance power? What did it do for you as a kid, and how has that influenced your development as an artist? And take a minute too. I know we're talking about Jellybean and the Minneapolis Sound, but you and all of you have played with a lot of people. Share with the audience, where your journey has taken you.
Yeah, for me, in the Bay Area and up in Washington State, Washington State was more like they love their blues, and then they got this rock thing going on because Jimi Hendrix was from there, and Nirvana and all that. But in the Bay Area, was really kind of nice, because once you got established as a nice musician on time, and he'll be here, let me give him a call, is when I realized, first of all, I was getting too many calls, and then meaning stretched out all over the Bay. And then could you be in Vallejo from, this time to this time, and actually starting to get the recognition that maybe I didn't know I had playing the drums, but there was cats from the Temptations calling me. There was, I got hooked in with this group called Cold Blood that was from the 70s, and they were kind of a rock band, but they did have a black drummer. And so I worked with them for years going up and down the coast. But I want to say that all the hard work that I used to do in the basement and with the other bands and stuff, and have the showmanship and the promptness, being on time, and hey, out every night, and not getting tickets or being jailed or something. You know how that is. But it sharpened me up for I could play on the dot, meaning they're like, have you heard this song? And who did it? Yeah, let's play it. So I know that Minnesota helped prepare me for that, taking on, all I could take. Yeah, call it on. What song you talking about?
Same question, Pierre. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna say one thing I want to say before I do all my thoughts. When I've toured with the Commodores, I would always go out and venture. While everybody in their hotel, I would go out and see bands and check out stuff. I'll say this: the bands in Minnesota would hold their own and smoke most of the bands and that I've seen all over the country. Okay, let me get that out the way. Okay. Mm-hmm. The bands. So when we had the battle of the bands, Flyte Time, Grand Central, Philadelphia Story, and all this stuff, man. We had some real competition here. Has something to do with like the Minneapolis Sound because of the quality of the musicians. Batman, the way he played the sax, he's the one guy that I knew. He's the only guy I knew that could sound like Maceo. And I played the saxophone. I could never figure that out. And he wouldn't tell me the secret, but I'll deal with him later. Anyways, but they had a lot of good musicians. Like I had Hubert Eves and Bobby Lyle lived down the street. And I had my cousins, the Hubbards, Freddie Hubbard and Jerry Hubbard and them. And there was just so many and then being in the back room, having a chance to practice on all them instruments and stuff. And then one thing too, as far as show business or show time with Spike, we're having us on time, making sure you weren't looking crazy when you were on stage. We had outfits and stuff. And then come to outfits, Batman has some outfits out of this world.
Outrageous. They were outrageous. But he was brave enough to do it.
But there was the competition was really stiff here, because guys are in the house because it's cold outside and working on their craft. So, and that's one thing that stuck with me. And as far as practicing woodshedding on my scales every day, I mean, I'm never good enough, at least for my own satisfaction, And I think, as far as I was prepared for like when I got like with the Commodores or when I played with ZZ Hill, different artists and stuff. And so I was already like been through the boot camp just from coming up, in the Twin Cities. I mean, it helped me a lot when I was touring and going, how to take care there. Yeah. Hey man, hey Batman! I think he erased my picture off of there.
Oh yeah, I deleted your picture and I blocked you.
See, that's what I'm saying. Too. That's what I'm saying. That. And you got to deal with characters like that. But Jellybean was a character too,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see the picture. You can see the poster in the back behind David Wright's head. You can see two rabbits. And those little dots, those are jelly beans. That's the poster that Bean put in our basement. That's how he got his name. Wow.
So hey, and and one thing I wanted to say, Jellybean, like he used to come to the jam sessions every time. So one time he came to jam session, he said, "Hey man, we're on the same show as you guys." I said, "The time?" He said, "Yeah." I didn't even know. He said, "Yeah, we're playing." I said, "Don't tell Morris I'm in the Commodores." I said, "I want you to come and get me, and we're going to bring him over there. I'll see if he recognizes me because I don't got no hair." And he brought me over there, and it's funny because Morris looking at me all crazy. It's like, you kind of look familiar, but I don't know who you are. Then as soon as I said something to him, he said, "Pierre, is that you?" and we was laughing, man. That was because that was a joke that me and him, Jellybean, he had to hold that secret for like about 3 or 4 months because he knew about the show 3 or 4 months. I said, don't tell him, man. Whatever you do not tell him that I'm. He said, oh, don't worry, I'm not, man. I'll keep a secret, man. He had to hold that secret. I know it was the way he liked to talk. And he said, he even told me, he said, man, it's eat me up, man. I said, don't open your mouth, man. Until you come and get me out of that dressing room. Then that all happened. And, we hung out all night, man. And we was playing some casino in Vegas, and we hung out till like by the time we hung out till it was time the next day to get for our rides for our lobby calls.
Batman, let me bring you in. Batman, talk about this photograph and where were you all as individuals and as a group in the development of your musicianship? Just sort of walk us through who's in the picture and the circumstance of this photograph. I've used this photograph several times in Insight News over the years. I think it's a great photograph. I don't remember who did it. It really is wonderful. So tell us about this picture and use this picture to talk about Jellybean and the individuals and the level of development that you were at the time and where you all have gone from that time.
Well, in this picture, we don't have a real keyboard player. What I remember was that we asked Pierre, and he didn't want to be in the band. I kind of remember that because we were, that rivalry was strong. It was like we were gang.
It was strong, man.
We were like the gang. He didn't want to join the other gang, and so I was a keyboard player playing horns, and from left to right is David Wright on the trumpet. Next to him is Tony Johnson, who now is a doctor of nuclear medicine. And that's Bean in the back, overexposed in the back. Me with Cynthia Johnson sitting on my lap, Terry Lewis behind her, and then James Anderson, who is now a senior pilot for United Airlines, is on the tenor sax. And we shared the keyboard duties at that point. There was a time that, we had Gary McCrae as one of our keyboard players, Greg Williams, who is now a famous actor in Hollywood. And he was our keyboard player, singer for a minute. But that we struggled with having a consistent keyboard player. And so, but that's in my parents' basement. And that they would leave all their equipment, and Bean would leave his drums down there. I learned how to play drums on his drums because he left his drums down there. We're all influenced by Sonny. Sonny Thompson playing all the instruments. I know Prince was influenced. I play everything. I play drums, I play guitar, I play horns and stuff, and keyboards and stuff. That was all because of Sonny in my mind. I don't remember anybody else doing that when we were kids.
Right.
Tony Johnson's in the back room. He's at work, so he can't turn his camera or his microphone on. But I want to say thanks to and acknowledge Tony for responding to your invitation, Batman, to get on the program. So Tony, just a shout out to you for checking us out. Spike, before the show, you talked about this whole thing of your intention was that Bobby and Sonny figure out how to make sure that everybody that came through was a multi-instrumentalist. Why was that important? And as you hear this conversation and these brothers talking about how prolific, how prodigious they are in the instruments and in the music itself, what about that?
Well, when I was first traveling to all those black cities, when I was boxing, I seen everybody was
lean into your microphone a little more if you can.
I was saying when I was first traveling, I was traveling boxing, and every town I went in black, they were deeply into music, and I said I want that for our kids. And so when I seen Bobby Lau, it gave me the opportunity to put it in place and develop these young people. I wish they had it today.
Spike, move your camera up a little bit so we got half your face in the screen. There we go. That's better.
How about that?
Yeah, but you got to project the voice in.
So that was what was at the root of what I was trying to do back then. Like Jonan didn't say, but one of the biggest actors in music over in Europe was Queen Wilson. She actually flew them over to open her shows. I told James Brown one time, I said, James Brown, I got a kid about to be 15 and whoop your whole band. James Brown told me that's a bunch of bull so-and-so. I said, tell me when you're coming to Minnesota, I'm going to bring him to you. So he played out the Met Stadium, and I brought Sonny Thompson out there. Sonny whooped the whole band. James said, Spike, send him to Nashville this week. I got go in there and perform with him, and I'm going to put him on the record right now. I mean, he took Sonny immediately. Sonny should have stayed.
Yeah.
Wilson, they should have stayed because she treated them like stars. The little jobs they had, they were in like Waterloo, Des Moines, Missouri, but they had an opportunity. The one thing they didn't say, and Joe didn't say, Motown came here 3 times to get them. They should have went. 3 times.
Can I say something about Sonny?
That's when I heard these dumb conversations. We have to leave home. We don't want to leave home. I said, what is the purpose if you won't go? They came 3 times. And then there was another company that came after them. But I'm just saying, the goal was to get them as big as they could be, doing something they love that they could be great in. And then the other thing was creating a place where they could play for our young people, because we were forced to go to the children's circuit to make money every week. So if we didn't have a place for young blacks to play, they're waiting for a job somewhere out of town, and you're waiting. And so we would do the dances on Friday and Saturday and do the festivals and put our best out there. And they put their best out there. And it just grew to thousands of people calling their relatives to come to Minnesota Northside Festival. They'd even come to the Juneteenth when I blocked Plymouth and Youth Appreciation Day. Everything I did, we ended it with music. And so the guys, I think because that professional spin was on there, it made them all great. And then the fact that they love music made them great. But all of them, in all fairness, should have made it big time. They were that good. All of them were that good. When you hear Batman talk, he played like a grown person as a kid with a horn. And that's really hard with the strength, the rhythm, all of that. Pierre was
he was like 80 years old back then.
Down the keyboard. Prince was the same way. Prince was already touching more than 7 instruments in the back room. And so we had the talent. It just needed that opportunity to go where it had to go, you know. And I'm telling you, I busted James Brown's face when I brought Sonny to him. I busted his face. He said, oh, no, you ain't got no cat. Yes, I do. And then he told me, fly him down. And I flew him down there. And Sonny wore him out. But I just know that across the board, all of them, when you see Terry Lewis, you're looking at football and track. So how would you know he would do that in music? You know what I'm saying? Right. And all of them were like that. They had something going on, but they had an inner feeling for music that made them great. And that's when I was talking about Jellybean, that's how often he would come just to watch Joe, just to learn. He loved the music. And when Joe would get on the stage and play, he'd find a part of the stage where he could just focus on Joe while he's playing, and he would not move. As he's learning, everything that Joe does, his beats, his hands, his feet, everything he does. And Joe, not being a selfish person, he showed every little brother that came through there that wanted to play the drums, including Morris Day, Joe would show him how to get it on. And I'm just saying that they had each other's back. They helped each other, and they stimulated and involved and invited other young people to step forward, boys and girls, younger than young, which the professionals didn't believe me. Those are kids, Spike. That's not professional. I ain't getting on the stage with them. I said, wait till you hear them. You're going to shut up. And they shut up everybody. I even had to make Babyface them get out of the limo.
Go ahead, David. Jump in, David.
I'd like to say something about your boy, Sonny. He had maybe one of the greatest gifts as a kid, but he wasn't sharing it with nobody. He threatened me. He came up to me and said, yeah, man, I heard you were talking about my drummer. They were going to beat me up. He wasn't about to share. So I never learned anything from Sonny. I just was inspired by Sonny. He never told.
Sonny had bad days.
I'm going to find him. I'm going to find Sonny. I'm going to give him the same thing I'm going to give Pierre when I see him. One of these.
Damn, you see me all the time. So.
And then Joe's brother beat me up, and Joe sat there while Michael, you guys they were thuggish. Al.
Michael was a gangster.
Can we get back to
they
music?
were gangster, Dad. I'm not hanging out at the way with them boys, man. I never hung out down at the way because them boys they wanted to beat me up.
David, you gotta stop.
So you should have came away out of my boxing program.
Man, I might have a lawsuit against Spike Moss because he let those boys threaten us. And I'm glad you're here, Spike. You better lawyer up, man. I'm gonna sue all y'all. For the emotional
I wasn't there yet.
The emotional trauma that boys caused me.
The boxing gym was open 5 days a week. You could have came in there and learned how to defend yourself.
Yeah, the boxing gloves was always ready.
Yeah.
Let me bring this back around. This is great to hear the guys talk, but Bianca, so you grew up in the household with Jellybean, And as part of that family, you were his eldest, you said,
Yes.
Little Bean, you're
Yes.
called. And so, from your point of view as a child, describe how you felt about Jellybean and his work as a musician, as an artist, and as a person of just great gifts, talent, and influence in the music world. And
So
how did it change over as you grew to become
yes.
understanding? What did your knowledge of him and of the world grow into as well?
Wow. So he literally was like a giant to me because he was
He is a giant. He's big.
and even though that was the case, I also was long. So like my mom, there's pictures of my mom trying to hold me, and her hands is like by my knees, trying to hold me in her hands. Growing up with Jellybean, boy, I haven't been bored my entire life. My whole life has been an adventure. I was gonna post about this, which I probably still will. My daddy had the prettiest Eldorado Cadillac. It was maroon and it had the little glittery paint in it. And then the system. He had like a equalizer and all this stuff, and your name. He could program your name in the equalizer. And then he had, every piece of music you could think of. He had the speakers booming. And so the car and us, me and my sister Kamisha, we were dad's focus group. So dad would come in. It's so weird because my stuff from Mint Condition and all of that is like the last studio copy type of situation. So not even, with the pictures and all of that stuff. No, I have, final cuts that are just came straight from the studio. But anyway, so we were dad's focus group. So he would play something and then he'd turn it down and be like, y'all like that one? And we'd be like, yeah, or no, or all that kind of stuff. And he loved so much and wanted to spend more time with us when he could. But yeah, he was always on the road. It was, my mother let me stay up so I could see him on Saturday Night Live, seeing him on different shows and then different movies. So Jay and Silent Bob, which there's a Jay and Silent Bob cruise, which is crazy. I think they're playing on it. But yeah, growing up, it just kind of evolved. I always went to where he was if I was capable. I would. I remember being at the Quest for the first time, and it was like Secret Service. So like because we were so small, we were kids. They had like 2-3 security people and all that kind of stuff with us, and was like, if you have to use the bathroom, we got to escort you to the bathroom. So we were like, you know what, we're just gonna sit here and just enjoy the show. And we were sitting, I remember we were sitting like in the second tier, and we could look down and wave and stuff like that. And yeah, just admiration just grew, because that's what he loved very much. Music was his first love.
Well, who else is musical in your family? Because you got more in the family in music, right?
Well, not necessarily music. Pete Rhodes and Miss Kim are my aunt and uncle. And when Pete first got here, when my Uncle Pete got here, he used to throw parties. I guess I heard parties at the top of the IDS tower, and always was supporting different musicians and stuff like that. And then he created the Minnesota Black Music Awards.
Mhm.
So there really wasn't other musical people in our family. I mean, I love to sing. I love to do karaoke, backup singing, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, with my uncle and stuff, that was, you know, life changing. Helped start all these different careers. And he was one of the first people to tell Prince no.
Ooh.
I got a kick out of it.
Tell me that story. What's that
I
story about?
think he was trying to do something with the stage, or he was trying to do something that was a little out of whack, and my uncle was like, "Nope," and walked away. So, yeah, I've been around musical people, but there aren't a lot of musical people in our family.
I got it.
Sing something right now, Bianca.
There are times when you need someone, I will be by your side. And there is a light that shines just for you and me.
That's good.
That's awesome. David, you got your instrument there?
I got a whole bunch of instruments here. But
Play
I'm not
something.
gonna-
I think Pierre got his keyboard there. I don't want. I think can't do anything coordinated, but let's do something.
Band together.
Who, me or Batman?
Let's do Batman by himself first. If you got something, Batman,
Yeah,
just
good,
a
good,
vibe
good.
or a thought,
I don't
a
know
testimony?
if he would even hear it.
huh?
I don't know if he would even hear it. I don't have my mixer on. I'm not doing that. Nice try, though, Al.
Okay, all right. Well, let me try Pierre. All right.
Okay.
Uh-oh, he
I
on
done
his
already
phone.
told you want something out of him, make him do it.
Oh, look, he ready.
Okay.
No, man. Ain't like that.
Uh-oh.
Who turned on the
Here's
TV?
something.
Oh, yeah. Turn it off.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard to hear. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
we can't really
It's not
hear.
coming through, Pierre.
That's
That was good though.
That's 'cause he
A little
can't
bit
play
I
no
couldn't
more.
hear.
too old to play. He can't play no more. He's too old.
Oh, come on.
So, David, I finally got to play with you. I was so thrilled.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
like playing with all those old people.
yeah. Well, this was recent, so it was Bernadette's dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys in the last 10 minutes here to talk about the future, and to do that conversation with, again, the benefit of, as you said, Bianca, all of those companions are in the 60 to 70 year age group now.
Yeah.
And so all of us brothers have been around for a minute, seen a lot, done a lot. And I find myself sort of reflecting on, the past 50 years that I've been here in North Minneapolis, at least 55 years that I've run Insight News, 50 years now, 50 years
Mm.
Here in the neighborhood. And still thinking, however, that there's so much to do.
Yes.
And I also think that the 50 years that have gone by have simply prepared me for what I'm about to do.
Mm.
That the work still lies ahead,
Yes.
and that the work is work to move towards liberation, freedom of our people,
Yes.
towards declaration
Mm.
of our sovereignty, not only in this country, but in the world
Yes.
as human beings. And that sovereignty that we declare is the power of healing all of humanity through our minds, our hearts, through our intelligence, through our creativity, through our invention, through our enterprise.
Mm.
But we simply must move ourselves to where we grab that freedom and change the world as part of our mission. That's how I see it.
Mm.
I want you guys to respond to that in the context of your career and your life. And it may sound like BS to you, and that's okay. You know, what are your thoughts? Pierre, you first.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and things are changing. The black man has arrived, or not has arrived, but we are moving up the ladder. We are. I mean, it's happening in Africa. It's happening all over the world. It's our time. They've been stealing our culture. They've stolen everything from culture, from inventions and everything. But you know, now it's the karma, the way things is coming around. With I mean, I'm just excited about the Africa. They're getting ready to be the big world power, and then but that's part of us.
Joe Lewis,
So
what you think?
Yeah, the world's really changed since we've grown up and, you know, branched out on our own, have families and stuff. But my dad, we grew up Muslim, and he predicted a long time ago, from what I'm seeing today, that someone's gonna come, be blonde, have a suit on, and wants to tell us a bunch of stuff that ain't real, or some stuff he's trying to pull off that does not include us. And so we need change still, because what's going on today ain't working. You know, not for black folks. That's just, we got to try so much harder. You know that part, and they ain't gonna give us too much credit. They want to wipe away our whole history right now. It's just a bothering thing. For somebody to be, every day you wake up, they're trying to change stuff around, you know. So I'm glad my kids are kind of grown, and they can see it too. But it's a disturbing thing. It ain't quite the same. So I stay a little worried, and but I got to get over that too. And you know,
Batman, what you think?
First of all, I didn't know my boy was Muslim. I didn't know. No wonder they was trying to beat me up over there.
well, we couldn't help it.
Well, it was like a religious war over there in the north side. I was raised Baptist, and I was always, you know, growing up with seeing actually, and when I was born in St. Louis, I remember going to church, and they had these pictures. Santa Claus was black, and that freaked me out because we were been brainwashed to, you know, to see Jesus is white and Santa Claus was black. I didn't like the black Santa Claus. I thought Santa Claus should stay white. But Jesus, on the other hand, I just have, you know, I feel that we are the Jews that they talk about in the Bible. We're the chosen people. And I believe that Jesus is going to come back. They talk about him having, like, you know, curly hair and bronze feet and everything in the Bible. So I'm waiting for that to happen. I believe that, you know, we're in the end times, and all this bad stuff that's happening with this terrible president that Pierre voted for. And
I'll kill you, man.
You know you voted for Trump. You little Trumpster over there. You know you did. Try to act like you did.
I wish I could grab you by the throat.
Come on over here, man. I got something for you.
I'm trying to reach. I can't reach you.
Grab that little head of yours right now.
Hey, I'll see you New Year's Eve. I'm on the gig with you.
New Year's Eve.
Maybe before that. I might see you tonight. I might see you Thursday now after that.
Go, come on down tonight, man, for that butt whooping.
That was last night. Oh, no,
So
it's tonight.
David,
last night. We're playing tonight.
That's right.
So, David, what's the vibe like in the club in live performance? Is there any difference from then to now? And will it be different in the future? Or is it that the spirit remains the same no matter where you are or who you're with? What's the story?
For me, it's about the same. I mean, it's no different than it was back. You know, we're still getting the same money, which is terrible. You know, and it's not a whole lot different. The clubs I wanted to play in back in the day, now they're open because now Prince and the Time opened the door, and now they're heroes instead of, you know, I remember club owners saying to our faces, we're not hiring any black bands.
Right.
We're going to hire white bands that are playing the same kind of music, and we're not hiring black bands. They told us that to our faces. And
Right.
First Avenue was this is all of a sudden is this great place. That was Uncle Sam's back in the day, and
They ain't called Uncle Sam's for nothing.
Yeah, and they weren't hiring black bands back in the day. So I think I'm optimistic about things and what's going to happen in the world and stuff in the future. And I don't know. It's things are tougher. I hate the whole electronic thing, even though I'm a big electronic guy myself. I hate that kids are having their heads buried in their phones and stuff. I think that's a problem, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that, Al.
Spike, well, let me have you jump in. So how do we, Spike, take our fair share in the world? We're not, at this point, expecting anybody to give us anything. Whatever we get, we have to build and create and take, I believe. What are your thoughts, and how do you see
one of the
future?
things that slowed us down from progress was getting our people to come together. And
Yeah.
we come together as a nation a long time ago and fought for the sovereignty you're talking about, with sovereignty land, and free ourselves from the oppression of this country is the only way. They're gone too far the wrong way. I was looking at the last 4 months in this country. Think about, in this state alone, 3 hospitals made a decision. No more prenatal care, no more delivery of the baby, no more aftercare, no more mental health, and no more emergency service. Everything is pointed at holding us down, denying us what we need, taking away the food card, welfare, rent assistance. And just the other day on the rent assistance tip in St. Paul, we're going to limit how long we will give you that assistance now. We're making sure everybody becomes broke, poor, and homeless. So if we don't deal with that land and free ourselves from thinking this country will ever set us free. If I'm wrong, Al, it was 1800s when they wrote the 14th Amendment. The 1800s, about 1814. They said all men are created equal with certain inalienable rights, but the Negro is 3/5 a man. You had from that time to this moment to erase that law, and it went nowhere. So it's obvious to me, I'm still not going to see you as a man. I'm still not going to see you as an American. And then remember, Trump said 2 weeks before the election, he said, it was 2 days before the election, he said the Mexican will poison white blood, and so will the African poison white blood. And then the last day before the election, he said, look at my beautiful white skin, ain't it pretty? That's the conversation of Hitler in his heyday, white superiority, when he said that white skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. So he's taking us back to the Nazis when he put them people in the street, where they bum rushed into people on the street. That's what the Nazis did. But you got folks in this state, one of the largest populations of Germans in the history of America. The only one even close is Wisconsin. And we're number 2 as the worst states towards black people. Wisconsin's number 1, Iowa's number 3, Illinois is number 4, Michigan's number 5. That means the Midwest is worse than the entire South. So if we don't wake up, come together as a people, stop attacking one another, stop doping one another, killing one another, he gets us for free, because we're not focused on him. We're focused on destruction of our men, women, and children. And what we did at the Way when we taught the people their history and culture, we got to do it again. These kids publicly use the N-word, publicly call our women B's and H's, publicly call their babies B's and H's.
It's in our music, in the rap music.
So we can get their minds. And rap music also sends them on the way, which is the reason we did those rap summits, to get them to stop the threats and using that same language. So we got a lot to work on. But to your point, Al, if we don't get sovereignty, we're done.
Bianca, you're standing on not only your dad's shoulders, but all of our shoulders. Yes, you're the next generation.
All got to lock hands. We got to come together, and we got to learn to love. I've been saying it for the last 6-7 weeks. Learn to love our women and children again. How do you walk away from your own foundation and expect to fight this man? Your foundation is that black woman. You walked away. There's 3 things that came over here with us, Al, and these are our founding things: God, Jesus, and Mama. Those 3 things we ain't never left. We're leaving it now. We got to get back to those three things, get back to our God, get back to the love between our people, to go forward with anything we do like we did for these young people, because they will be destroyed by each other. I live on the north side. There's 3 different drug markets that are overwhelming. If you go over University Avenue with St. Paul, it's overwhelming. If you go to Lake Street, it's overwhelming. We got to turn it around ourselves, and we got to ask for sovereignty. And let me make myself clear to anybody watching this. When World War II was over, the Japanese asked for sovereignty. When they gave them their money, the money was
reparations.
They asked for the gold. So they got gold. They said, but they're taking off our gold. What else would you take? They said some land, sovereign land. America gave them that sovereign land. They came over here, built their cars, and their cars are outselling America's. We need our sovereign land with our sovereignty in terms of money. I get sick and tired of black people saying we're begging. You don't beg nobody when you built this country. You want your fair share of what you owe. And we were here before slavery. We were coming here before slavery. So we got to use our history, use our heart, and use our love to withstand what America is getting ready to do to everybody of color. And they're going to get to the Jews last.
They're doing it in Africa. They're doing it in Africa right now at Burkina Faso. The president of it, and he just housed 50,000 people in brand new apartments for free rent.
It's Captain
Free rent.
Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso.
Yep, Traore. Well, he's got like about 30, 40 has reunited. They've come together, presidents that are all around Africa. And hey, it's that time. We're going to get a chance to see get to see the black man, us rise up.
Let me have Bianca close us out, because I started with you, Bianca. I'm going to have you close it out with my note was that you are the next generation. All of us here are your elders, and you're standing on our shoulders, and certainly your dad's shoulders. How does it look from where you stand? And what is your hope? What is your expectation of yourself, of us, and of the world?
Well, first and foremost, I think we're going to be all right.
Amen.
Some of us grew up with grandma, big mama. We grew up with those people who told us how to be resilient and how to take care of ourselves. Because, once upon a time, we couldn't go to the hospital, and we couldn't have insurance. And so whatever was in mama's backyard is what was going to help you heal. And that's another thing is I hope for the future, there's a lot of healing, and y'all generations have been a lot of hurt, a lot of changes, losing generational wealth, drugs, all those kinds of things. And so what I see in my future is healing and, calling a thing, naming things, and just looking out for each other, being more mindful when we talk to each other, that everybody's going through something. And so at least those are the spaces, the things that I've been thinking that we are going to heal. We deserve to heal. And so I hope that it's my generation and beyond that helps us get there, because we deserve that. We've made this magnificent place. We make everything wonderful. Nobody wants to be black. Everybody wants to be black, but nobody wants to be black.
Bianca, your boy Pierre needs some healing over there. Look at him, he's just moving around. Sit down, man. Sit down. You're like distracting everybody, man. Big bald head.
I put a hamburger in the
You're like the Blair Witch Project over there, man.
I got a hamburger. This is what I've done.
Sit down, man. Just like, look at you.
And you can't have none.
Listen, guys, thank you all so very much. And we want to say a thanks to Jellybean for just what you have done and who you are. And we celebrate Jellybean, you joining the ancestors and continuing to power the change of the future. Spike, thank you. Joe Louis, thank you. Pierre, thank you. Batman, thank you. Bianca, thank you. And thanks to listeners and viewers. Share this video, send it across your social media platforms, and let's keep this conversation going. Thank you so much. I'm Al.
I love you guys.
We'll see you next time. Thank you.
All right, soul brothers, sister.
All right, now. See y'all soon.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'll see you soon, Batman.
Okay, I think we're done, guys. Let me see. I might have the outro going again. Hold on.